announcement now. Go ahead. Maggie's make the announcement that. All right. Now, Rob, you've been right where the Perseverance team is sitting now. What's in store for them as we approach landing?
Well, this is the this is the nail-biting time. Fortunately, we still have ones and zeros coming, but very soon, as we approach cruise stage separation, the transmitter on this rover we've been using all the way to get to Mars is going to be turned off. So we will lose our ability to see ones and zeros. But the good thing is, once the cruise stage is gone, there's another radio that will continue transmitting a tone, so that like a flashlight that will allow us to at least see that the vehicle is still on, and that color of that flashlight tells us a little bit what state the rover's in. But soon after that, it won't be very long before we'll be able to hear more ones and zeros coming from the spacecraft. So this is a really exciting time, and it's just important to remind people this is there's a lot that can go wrong in a day like today. There are thousands of things that have to go right.
Yeah, we had success in the past landing on Mars. You'd think it gets easier, but it really doesn't. Why is it still so difficult?
Well, it's because it's involved thousands and thousands of things, hundreds of thousands of lines of code. There's 79 pyrotechnic devices. Each have to work perfectly. One critical wire short, or one key thing mechanism that doesn't work or breaks, and it's mission over. And so it's, and it's very easy. We're human beings. We're not perfect. Mistakes can be made. We count on each other to find our own mistakes, and we work very hard to learn from the mistakes of the past. We've had many failures. Remind people, roughly half, around half of the missions to Mars over history have failed. And so that could happen today too. Even though we've had a nice, wonderful string of successes in the United States, it's still still a bit of a gamble that we have hoped that we have erred in the side of luck, and we've stacked the deck and loaded the dice to make this thing succeed. But if we do fail, and something bad happens today, I can tell you, we're going to learn it. We'll have the data that tell us what happened. We'll know why. We'll figure it out. And if we are allowed, we will pick ourselves up and get us back on the horse. And if Congress and NASA allow, we will try again. As we always do, we will learn from our mistakes.
And what are the possible scenarios we could be looking at today?
Well, there's things like one of the key stressful elements for all of us is parachute inflation. But just even separating from the cruise stage is a pretty major event. Lots of devices have to work properly. Certainly, the heat shield separation, getting the descent engine started. There's no less than 16 rocket motors that have to work. 8 to control during entry, another 8 to control it during landing. I said it's a lot of stuff, and it all has to work. And guess what? We haven't done this before with this vehicle ever. This is its first attempt to actually land. We can't try this on Earth. We can't do. We don't have test pilots to try it out on this planet before the big show. So this vehicle is doing it for the first time. We've done the best testing we could do in bits and pieces, but it's as best as we could do. But I think our team is up to it. This team is the best. It's a diverse, intelligent, amazing group of people. People from all over the world who worked on this, not just here in California, but all over NASA, contributors from aerospace, universities, countries around the world. It is just an incredible, remarkable engineering achievement, and I am just so proud of this team.
Thanks, Rob. Now, let's listen back into mission control.
Right, we're about 14 minutes from entry interface. The vehicle is currently preparing the heat rejection system that has kept the thermal system cool inside the air shell for about the last 6 months. This will allow the spacecraft to more easily cut the lines in upcoming cruise stage separation, which is under 4 minutes now.
We have now enabled the rover pyro bus.
That's the pyrotechnic system that's
We're powering off the cruise stage devices.
And these are the things in the cruise stage that we no longer need. With the pyrotechnic system working, we can explode the devices
The
necessary
vehicle
to
is
separate.
preparing for the upcoming cruise stage separation in about 3 minutes 15 seconds by powering off all the devices on the cruise stage in order that they can be safe once the cruise stage is jettisoned.
Yeah, this cruise stage has been very reliable.
We are firing our first pyros to vent the HRS liquid and gas.
This has been the coolant that's kept their vehicle from getting too hot on the way to Mars. We have to vent it into space. And so this is one of the first major events that take place as part of entry, descent, landing.
The HRS vent anchor is complete.
Yes.
We will see the next anchor in approximately 3 minutes.
Okay.
We are currently 12.5 minutes from entry interface. We are coming upon cruise stage separation in 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
What's happening now, Rob?
Okay, well, we're just waiting. The rover is completely in charge. It's doing all the things we've taught it how to do. It's all built into the software. We've tested it over and over and over again. This team has spent 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, testing this thing for years. And so this is really the culmination of all that work. So this vehicle is getting ready to push that cruise stage away. Once it gets pushed away, the entry system with the rover inside, with the rover still in charge, is going to get ready to take the vehicle, turn it to the right orientation, and aim it to Mars, and prepare for entering the atmosphere. This won't be long. Be prepared for this event.
We're about 1.5 minutes from cruise stage separation, about 11 minutes 20 seconds from entry interface.
Okay, so it's about 10 minutes from cruise stage separation till entering the top of the atmosphere. From then on and out, things happen
We are switching
fast.
to MFSK tones. Telemetry will have stopped.
Telecom is confirming that the spacecraft has switched to broadcasting tones. These tones are received directly from Perseverance, but have very limited information content. We won't receive real-time information until about 9-10 minutes from now, once the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter starts relaying information from Perseverance. We are under 1 minute from cruise stage separation, about 10.5 minutes from entry interface.
It's getting exciting. I have to admit, I am quite anxious, but very hopeful that this machine is going to do what we asked
We
it
are
to
seeing
do.
the heartbeat tones.
Okay, that means that there's no more ones and zeros coming. It's just the vehicle telling us it's still alive.
We are continuing to receive tones from Perseverance, standing by for cruise stage separation. We have indication that cruise stage separation has been confirmed by the spacecraft.
We're off on a good start.
In about 1 minute, Perseverance's landing software will wake up and begin the final preparations for entry. The first action it will do is to fire warm-up pulses with its entry thrusters. These pulses ensure that the spacecraft gets the thrust that it wants during entry interface. We're about 9 minutes from entry interface.
Okay, so now the vehicle's on its own. It's turning itself into the direction of facing the heat shield toward Mars, and will eventually hitting the top of the atmosphere. We're not far away. This is going to go very quickly from here on out.
I have confirmation that we got shadowed by the cruise stage as it passed through our beam to the Earth.
Telecom indicated actually that we could see a signal that the cruise stage went between the Perseverance entry capsule and Earth. So we saw a little blip the data stream indicating the crew stage separation. We have confirmation that the vehicle has started warming up those entry thrusters. Warm-up pulses have begun. At this point, the spacecraft is trying to stop its spin from the cruise 2 revolutions per minute down to 0, and then will turn to its desired orientation from entry. It will separate the 2 balance masses that has kept it balanced during all of cruise. This will allow the entry capsule to have lift when it enters the atmosphere. We have confirmation that the spacecraft has turned to the desired entry attitude. We are about 7.5 minutes from entry interface.
Okay, the vehicle is pointed in the right direction. The thrusters are warmed up and doing their job. And now we've spun down from the 2 revolutions per minute that the vehicle had the whole way to Mars. It was a spin-stabilized spacecraft. And then from here on out, it's going to just be a bullet, and it's going to control its orientation and attitude via rockets on the back of that back shell.
Points carrier lock. Sorry, the DTE from Radio Science from Green Bank reports carrier lock. They see the carrier on the downlink.
Flight level 1.
We are continuing to wait for entry interface. We're about 6 minutes and 45 seconds from entry interface. We have confirmation from Greenback that they are receiving direct-to-Earth telemetry via that path. The spacecraft Perseverance is currently transmitting heartbeat tones. These tones indicate that Perseverance is operating normally and has nothing significant to report. This is as expected. We're currently just over 6 minutes from entry interface.
Okay, and now we wait. As soon as we get to the top of the atmosphere, it'll be very quickly, which is the entry point. It won't be very long before the atmosphere will start getting thicker and thicker. It's going very quickly at a fairly steep angle of 15 degrees into the atmosphere, and as it starts to slow down.
We're just under, we're about 5.5 minutes from entry interface. We're still receiving heartbeat tones. We expect to continue receiving heartbeat tones until about 5 minutes after entry. At that time, Perseverance will be no longer in view of our antennas here on Earth. About 90 seconds prior to entry, the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter should begin receiving telemetry from Perseverance and streaming it to Earth in near real time. There are a few expected short outages, such as when we have a plasma blackout or when we enter the peak heating phase. Aside from these outages caused by the plasma blackout, antenna switching, or high dynamic events, spacecraft events, we should have telemetry until about 90 seconds after landing. A plasma blackout is when the signal from Perseverance isn't strong enough to make it through the superheated, super fast air flowing around the spacecraft all the way down to Earth. Once the temperature drops below that peak heating, we do reacquire the signal from Perseverance. We are currently about 4.5 minutes from entry interface. Perseverance continues to report heartbeat tones, indicating everything is nominal.
Okay, what we're looking for now is Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter should be in view soon of our vehicle and be able to listen to ones and zeros coming from a separate radio that's really designed to talk between spacecraft.
MRO reports the electro radio is powered on, ready to receive signals from the lander.
Okay, MRO is ready and able and waiting to hear from our rover.
Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter has reported that it's ready to receive the signals from Perseverance. It should be in a few minutes here. We're just
Flight local 1
from entry interface.
We don't need these ones and zeros, as Swati said, but to land safely. But we really need it for our own health and well-being today to keep our nerves under control. But
around this time, a second spacecraft, MAVEN, should begin picking up telemetry from Perseverance and will continue to record that telemetry until several minutes post-landing. We won't get that data for several hours after landing as it's being recorded and then will be forwarded to Earth later. We are continuing to receive heartbeat tones, indicating that everything is nominal. We're currently at about 3 minutes until entry interface.
Okay. Very soon we'll be getting ones and zeros, I hope, from our radio on the rover. The entry interface is nothing more than just an arbitrary place in the sky that we've defined to be above the atmosphere. But from that point on, there's definitely atmosphere, and above it there isn't.
We are 2 minutes from entry interface. Perseverance is to transmit heartbeat tones, indicating everything is nominal.
So the tones can tell us whether something is bad or not is happening. So far the heartbeat is doing well. So the vehicle thinks it's in good shape to land, which is a great sign.
We're just under 2 minutes from entry interface. As it gets closer to Mars, Perseverance is actually being pulled in by gravity and accelerating. By the time Perseverance reaches entry interface point, she should be going just under 5.4 kilometers per second. We're at about 90 seconds from entry interface and standing by for Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter to pick up the telemetry. We are 1 minute from entry interface.
MRO is in receive mode.
We have confirmation that the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter is now relaying data from Perseverance. We're about 30 seconds from entry interface. Perseverance is going about 5.2 kilometers per second and is about 190 kilometers altitude above the surface of Mars.
Confirm UHF data flow.
About seconds from entry interface. 5.3 kilometers per second and an altitude of about 150 kilometers from the surface of Mars. We have confirmation of entry interface. Perseverance is currently going 5.3 kilometers per second at an altitude of about 120 kilometers from the surface of Mars. The spacecraft is now waiting until it begins feeling the atmosphere of Mars to slow it down. Once there is enough atmosphere, it will start controlling its path to the landing target. Navigation is also confirming that we can see a little bit of that slowdown of the atmosphere on the Perseverance entry capsule. Our current velocity is about 5.36 kilometers per second and an altitude of about 67 kilometers from the surface.
We are probably seeing MRO plasma blackout at this point.
vehicle should be doing its turns right now.
MRO has lost lock.
Perseverance. We have indications that Perseverance is now performing bank reversals in the atmosphere. These are the steps in order to control its distance to the landing target. Perseverance has just passed through the point of maximum deceleration and has indicated that it felt approximately 10 Earth Gs of deceleration.
MRO has lock again.
Yes, 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 yes.
We saw a small outage of the UHF telemetry from Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter during that peak heating phase, likely caused by the plasma blackout. Perseverance is still continuing to perform bank reversals in the atmosphere to control its distance to the landing target. Perseverance is going about 1 kilometers per second at an altitude of about 16 kilometers from the surface of Mars. We have entered heading alignment, which means Perseverance is no longer trying to control the distance to Mars, to the target on Mars, but instead is flying straight to the target.
Parachute.
Our current velocity is about 550 meters per second at an altitude of about 15 kilometers from the surface.
MRO is reporting good telemetry lock.
We are coming upon the straighten up. We are starting the straighten up and fly right maneuver, where the spacecraft will jettison the entry balance masses in preparation for parachute deploy and to roll over to give the radar a better look at the ground.
Yes, yes, yes.
The navigation has confirmed that the parachute has deployed, and we are seeing significant deceleration in the velocity. Our current velocity is 440 meters per second at an altitude of about 12 kilometers from the surface of Mars.
Yes.
Perseverance is now slowed to subsonic speeds, and the heat shield has been separated. This allows both the radar and the cameras to get their first look at the surface. Current velocity is 145 meters per second at an altitude of about 9.5 kilometers above the surface.
Yes, yes, yes.
Perseverance now has radar lock on the ground. Current velocity is about 100 meters per second, 6.6 kilometers above the surface of Mars. Perseverance is continuing to descend on the parachute. We are coming up on the initialization of terrain relative navigation and subsequently the priming of the landing engines. Our current velocity is about 90 meters per second at an altitude of 4.2 kilometers.
Almost there.
We have confirmation that the lander vision system has produced a valid solution and part of terrain relative navigation.
Yes.
We have priming of the landing engines. Current velocity is 83 meters per second at about 2.6 kilometers from the surface of Mars. We have confirmation that the back shell has separated. We are currently performing the divert maneuver. Current velocity is about 75 meters per second at an altitude of about a kilometer off the surface of Mars.
Here in Safety Bravo.
We have completed our terrain relative navigation. Current speed is about 30 meters per second, altitude of about 300 meters off the surface of Mars. We have started our constant velocity accordion, which means we are conducting the sky crane, about to conduct the sky crane maneuver.
We've lost direct-to-Earth tones.
As expected. As expected.
Sky crane maneuver has started, about 20 meters off the surface.
We're getting signals from MRO.
UHF is good.
Touchdown confirmed. Perseverance safely on the surface of Mars, ready to begin seeking the sands of past life. At this point, the descent stage has flown away to safe distance. Perseverance is continuing to transmit direct through Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter to Earth.
Oh my God. Oh. Oh.
MRO reports they're still getting telemetry from the lander.
All right, all stations.
We got it.
Touchdown confirmed. We're going to wait for the images.
Wow.
This is so exciting. The team is beside themselves. It's so surreal. Stay tuned. We might get some pictures.
That'd be great.
So much has been riding on this.
Yeah, we just heard the news that Perseverance is alive on the surface of Mars.
It's not the
Flight, we have seen the completion of EDL 3000.
Copy activity. That is as expected.
MRO is still seeing a strong signal from the lander.
We have just heard the news that Perseverance is alive on the surface of Mars. Congratulations to the mission. And looks like we have some more news in. It looks like we're getting the first image. Here, take a look at the first image.
Flight, this is OL3. I have the target point on the map when you are ready.
We are ready, OL3. Go for it.
Flight, I'll be moving in, showing you the safe zone that we've landed in.
Just put the first image from Perseverance on the surface of Mars. Now, it comes from the engineering cameras, known as the hazard camera. This camera is mainly used to help the rover drive safely around Mars, and we will get higher resolution photos later in the day.
Look at that, right? You get the safe.
Wow. Nice. This is amazing.
This is Andrew.